Hello, good afternoon. Welcome to Saturday's webinar. Just as usual, this Saturday, Community CPA brought to you a topic that often appears at small businesses owners' mind, and what we are experiencing right now in the pandemic really posed a lot of questions to small businesses, and you're not alone. And you're not the only one secretively thinking, I want to sell my business. And you're also not the only one knowing that other people are selling the business. So there's a lot of consolidation going on. I want to make sure that before you get on that path to sell your business, you want to understand basic. And I am not giving you knowledge for you to check on tax code chapter 1202, stuff related to selling your business. I'm really here just to give you the basic understanding. So hopefully you make the right decision when you decided to sell your business. Let's share screen, and we did prepare the webinar for you. This is our website. As you always know, communitycpa.com. And communitycpa.com, and people ask me why it is communitycpa.com. Community CPA is literally the CPA firm that covers the ground between HR Block to KPMG. If you are not fitting in any of the spectrum, and you're talking about Community CPA, so we're here to capture the small, successful businesses, and we have clients build the business, sell business, and go on with another building business. It is just amazing to see how people really have a lifestyle of how they proceed with business. Some business owners are building business for legacy. They want their children to take it over. They want the business to last forever within the family. But some entrepreneurs, they're just building it for sale. Those venture capitalists, those angel investors, they are the people wanting to build business and sell for more money. So nothing wrong with wanting to sell business. I don't want you to see that as a failure. Oh, I'm not doing good, so I'm selling business. No, don't go there. And we have different reasons for wanting to sell business, right? So we just want to understand how to take advantage of this event so you know what you're doing. Our YouTube channel has all of our webinars, like today, this one, and later on, future ones, and the past ones. We have like over 600 videos, and our subscribership is pretty solid, and we don't do advertising, and we're not really relying on any push right now, even though I wish I could, but I don't know how to do it. So we're just organically growing businesses, business owners coming in to subscribe to our channel. So if you are a successful small business owners, I want you to do me a favor and subscribe to our channel and letting your friends know to go onto our channel as well. Look at this. We have English and Chinese and the Spanish webinars, all kind of topic. Just come here to search. You'll find what you need. All right. So now let me go ahead, share our slides for today. How to sell my business. I know it is a huge topic, and I really don't intend to cover everything for you today. But what I want to cover is the questions I got from our client day in, day out. When they come in, they go, Ying, didn't really feel good lately. I went to the doctor and did my physical checkup. Doctor said that I have this rare, condition in my kidney, and I really need to slow down. And so I want to see whether I can get the business out of my hand, sell it. If I can't sell it, what am I going to do? So, you see these type of situations happens, especially if business is owned by baby boomer generation, and they're all getting older. So they are the one that suddenly realize their children are not not the one going to take over their business. You know, you're not alone, right? I know I'm talking to you, and your children do not want to take over your business. That's very normal. That happens everywhere. So don't even feel bad. Just feel that you're normal and you are not extraordinary in terms of building your kids into your business. Well, that's just how it is. So it's okay. The kids don't want it. So we're going to look at how to sell the business and not thinking about the kids, right? But of course, if the kids are interested, there's many ways you can build the kid into the business. That's a different topic. Maybe my next webinar should be, how do I build my kids into my business? So that would be another separate project and separate webinar. But this one, we're talking about how you sell to outsiders. So a little bit about myself. I always introduce myself because I always have new people coming into my webinar, and I'm pretty proud of that. Oh, by the way, and if you live in Des Moines area, and you will find the Wow magazine that has the cover page and the cover photo of me and a cover page of stories about our firm and myself. And it is just kind of a moment that when I go somewhere, people goes, I think I know you. And then I go, okay, yeah, I know that magazine is out there on the rack. So you saw it. Our firm is really centered around caring. And I, as a person, I do care. And I don't think I am a design entrepreneur. I call myself accidental entrepreneur. Accidentally discovered the community needs for accounting service and developed that to be communitycpa.com. And now we're serving many more people. We're giving our talent, our ideas, and our knowledge to people who are really in need. And small business, if you are successful, you really need this knowledge. Of course, if you're still in the startup, you're struggling, there's a lot of governmental programs helping small businesses as well. But the successful small businesses are the one playing the long game. You don't get a government grant, you don't get government help, you're on your own and you're just doing good, but you don't have the big boys tool for your business. That's why you're sitting there goes, I'm paying too much taxes. Of course you did, because you didn't use the tools, right? All right. So myself, I serve on National Taxpayer Advocacy Panel. It is a federal advisory committee to IRS. It's a federal elected committee and to provide recommendations, input to IRS. And there is my email. And I also have a book on Amazon. It's called Appointment with Ying at 8 a.m. And I have 4 books planned to come out: 8 a.m., 10 a.m., 2 p.m., and 6 p.m. What I am going to write about is 8 a.m. you start a business, 10 a.m. you grow your business, then 2 p.m. you will merge, acquire, expand your business, and 6 p.m. you will retire from your business. And I already have so many things I can talk about on the 2 p.m., 6 p.m. I really think this has reflected my career path as well. You know, obviously I'm not a traditional entrepreneur, didn't design this. So I stumbled into a business. So I grow Community CPA and expand Community CPA. Then I will land at the place where maybe I can see Community CPA to be a legacy for all the small business owners, where you come together and to really learn from each other. This is the platform I really want to establish. And the book itself is just a background. It's just a fundamentals, the basis for me to grow that future activities. And of course, no responsibility disclaimer. This is just related to our knowledge here, and knowledge do expire. And sometimes we do have a wrong understanding, possibly, and then we will correct it if we realize that. But sometimes knowledge go outdate then you are still listening to the old audios, sometimes can make you confused. I do even have a YouTube follower, and they emailed me, said that Ying, in that videos you said it wrong. It's not like that. And I went back and to look at it. Oh, I realized because it was like so old, so the knowledge expired. The IRS changed the treatment. That's why the videos itself wasn't right, because of the timing is already expired. So just look at the timestamp on the video. Make sure that you always listen to the earliest. When you search for the video, for example, if you search for ERC, and there's a lot of ERC come up, right? But they're not exactly ranked by the date. So you want to pay attention to how many months ago we loaded, how many days ago we loaded, so you know how relevant that is. All right, so that is so much about disclaimer, and I welcome you to come into Community CPA family, be a client of ours, and in that case, of course, your work and the outcome, and we take responsibilities. But on the internet, with the free delivery of knowledge, and we do not. All right, let's talk about selling. When a small business wants to sell, you know what that means? That actually means the following things. Maybe there is a health issue and the business owner just lost the passion. And have you ever seen someone who got into the business so hot-headed and then worked and didn't make it, then that business become a burden? There's no love to it at all. Just literally want to trash it, want to throw it away. Sell? Are you kidding me? Sell? I want to throw it away. You heard of that, right? So that happens when you get burned out. And I am very conscious about that, because in CPA type of business, it can easily burn out because the demand is so tremendous, but the time is so limited, right? And there's very easy you can get burned out. But I always say that the only way an entrepreneur would never got burned out, it is because the goal they have in their mind is bigger than themselves. When the goal it is bigger than you don't burn yourself down anymore, because you always need to be at your best to accomplish the goal that is bigger than you. So my goal is bigger than mine. But my goal for Community CPA is bigger than me. So I don't feel that way at all. And I'm always very passionate about what I do, and I want to see the results. So when you give me a thumb up, I am literally gaining energy just by that one thumb up. So I want you to give me that, encourage me, so I go farther and I build a better firm for all of you. And new interest outside of business, of course that happens. You start one business, you look at the other one, you want to go to the other one. And the business owner is holding the business back. What that means is the owner is good at creating a business, but not good at growing the business. So between the 8 a.m. to 10 a.m., and they are good at 8 a.m. work, but by the time we reach 10 a.m., they are already tired of doing what they're doing. Yes, there's a lot of business owners are like that. They become the holding back factor. They don't care. They don't show up. And so people don't know what to do, right? And the owner's kids said no to the transition plan. So of course they want to sell. The kid goes, kick you. I don't want the business, right? So many times I hear the business owner saying that the kids don't want their business because the kids were totally scared how much work they were doing, how busy they were. I guess that is, the other side of coin, right? We work hard, then we probably ignored about the kids. Then the kids growing up goes, I grew up like orphan, and you never at home. We heard of that, right? Yeah, those kids are not reasonable. I don't agree with them. And they would never grow up in the orphan as an orphan, because the business owners, small business owners probably have given the world to their children. Maybe not time, but material, well-being, fed them. And, we all did that, didn't we? right? So the owner's spouse says it is time to sell. Of course, your significant others and got tired of you not showing up at home or not going on vacation together, and that could be a reason to sell. The owner need to diversify and or partnership differences. So what does that mean? The business owner is the partnership. You just don't get along, right? I would say that in my 20-some years community CPA's work, I probably see, I would say 50-50. I have 50% of the partnership goes just really well, but I also have another 50% of partnership just bad. You know, they started not awkward and then they ended really bad, but the really, truly bad and went on to court, few. I don't see a lot of that. And a lot of our clients, if they are client, they got into partnership dispute, they didn't really go to the lawyer to do that yet. And we as accountant can already explain a lot of things on a number. So to help them to settle the difference, right? So accountants are good pills to take because they're not too strong. They're not opinionated. With lawyers, you always have a winning side, losing side. But with accountant, you maybe can create a win-win situation, right? All right, so we know the reason to sell. But the reason I mentioned about the reason to sell is because I want you to come up with the reasons for selling when you are preparing for it. You cannot just tell your buyers that I am so tired of my business, I would trash it. Don't you want it? I give you a discount. You know, that's not how it works, right? So you really need to come up with reason. Reasons of I had other interest in other business is one good reason. The reasons of my health deteriorating, that's a good reason. However, you know, when you speak like that, it's more like you are doing a fire sale. It's more like that you're urgent. So the buyer could take that as a signal they can offer you lower the market price, right? And you also want to prepare for the timing of the sale. When I talk about timing of the sale, a lot of time, small business owners coming to there, not by planning, just by consequences of events. So went to the doctor, got sick. So that's the time of the sale. And something else happened. Partner died, want to sell. So there's a lot of timing are not really in human control, but you want to control as much as you can. So maybe you do set a goal saying that when I reach 120, I will be selling my business, right? So set a realistic goal. And I know you smile because I said 120. And I told folks that in one of the coaching session, and one fundamental shift they talk about is to not think of people retiring at 60, to think of people dying at 150. So when you reach 60, what does that mean? That means you are still so young, you have so much life ahead of you. And then your perspective to life, your attitude to work, your learning attitude, everything changes because of you expanded your life, right? So that's the same thing. And you just want to imagine and come up with a timing. And the business valuation is another thing. You can hire professional people to do your business valuation. You can also knocking on your CPA firm's door or coming to Community CPA and to do your valuation. And we have our own proprietary valuation tools because we don't deal with Elon Musk, Tesla kind of company. We deal with small companies. Our clients are ranging from $1 million to 100 million, 120 million. That's our largest client. So we don't really have a big client, right? Our client is reasonably medium, small, medium companies. So those companies, when you do valuation, maybe you don't need a big tool. Maybe you don't need to spend $6,000, $8,000 to do it. And with Community CPA, we have a very simple way of doing valuation. We tell you how to do your own valuation ongoing. And of course, you want to prepare to find a buyer yourself, or you're going to do the brokerage firm, right? And how to find the brokerage firm. The only advice I give you is that you want to get approved from that broker. He had sold and engaged businesses for your type of business is so important, because without any experience, they cannot spot the real buyer. They could accidentally giving your information to people who are just snooping around, and they're your competitors. They want to know how much you make. They want to know what you do. And you might be giving out your trade secret to people that should not be looking at it. But the experienced broker, they can spot these people. They know who is real, who is not. And don't forget your banker. The banker you work with all these years, who did your loan, who knows your business, and that banker has a connection. Some of the banks even have a merger and acquisitions division. They actually do brokerage businesses like that. But if the bank don't do that, you can still go through your banker and to get to know people, right? Of course, prepare your NDA, non-disclosure agreement. So make sure that you have that handy, and whoever you talk to, you want them to sign. And for your protection, if they did anything illegally, inappropriately to your data, and you can seek for damages from that point on. Make sure you get that prepared, right? Of course, you're supposed to have your financial, you're supposed to have your tax return. And if you know you're going to sell, maybe your tax return should be done with that in mind. Maybe your CPA should participate in planning your sales. All right. Those are all the services possible out there, folks. If you have never thought about it, I know this talk will give you some tools that you can use. All right. Generally speaking, when we talk about selling business, and it is not so complicated, it's really, it is something that we can summarize at very top level, right? So if you sell business, and not to go into the trust side of the things, not to go into transferring to your children. I'm just talking about you're going to sell your business to Ying, to me. You sell your business to a third party, okay? So then you can sell two ways. One way is to sell your shares. The other way is to sell your asset. There's only two ways to sell it. It doesn't matter how creative you are. You can have a lot of ways to sell your shares. You can sell some of the shares, 10%, 20%, 50%. Maybe first year is 5%. You know, there's so many ways you can do it, you know, creatively. And then you can also sell your share in one totality, one shot, right? And of course, you can also do what we call employee stock options, right? So these are inside of that employee stock options. There's qualified, non-qualified plan. And that itself, it is literally a day courses for people to take. But I plan to tackle that for you and making it simple so you understand. So I already start working on that, just trying to translate the difficult knowledge into something you just goes, I got it. I got it. So that is really what I'm trying to do for our folks who follow me on the YouTube, right? So that is one way of selling company shares. The other way is sell all or most of the asset, which comprise the business assets, including the client list. So what I'm saying is that you can sell your company's asset by pieces. You can sell receivable, you can sell inventory, you can sell your asset, maybe bulldozers or forklifters, right? And you can sell your building inside of your company, and you can sell your client list, intangibles. So those are ways you can sell these assets. Or of course, you can do an asset sell in total. Or you can sell everything else, but say to your buyer that leave the receivable for me. When you receive the money, give that to me because I want my receivable. You see? So there's ways to do selling, but just major way for small businesses are these two. All right. Then you wonder, okay, I know I want to sell, but who am I going to sell to? Don't really know anybody. And you think I should just go to the brokerage firm, find a broker? Of course, you can do that. And there is the fee generally is between 2% to 5%. I recently had seen those kind of fees goes up to 8%, but just so you know, that is like selling your house, right? So they charge a commission. So those are brokerage firm. And normally the people who wants to buy your business, and it is your competitors. And it's actually your local competitors. If you can just talk to your competitors and tell them that you want to sell, you might just did the sale yourself. Don't forget them. Don't forget who compete with you. That's number one. The number two possible sell is actually your business community, those people you know. And you will let them know that you're interested to have a partner coming in or to sell the firm, to sell the company, and you're looking. So that is where the buyers coming in. Of course, there's other individuals who may just know from your social media. And the venture capitalists and investors are another group are really actively looking at merging small businesses. I have seen at least 3 clients had been merged by these equity investors. They represent a big amount of money. So they come in, they buy one type of business, buy them all. And the prices on that is pretty good. And I mean, if you just sell to local competitors, maybe not. But to sell, they pay the premium price, which I have to say, just because I see 3 businesses are sold that way, and all of them are pretty good sell. Okay. And the overview, let me just, since we know that now we know there's a share sale, there is also the asset sale. So I want to quickly go through this share sale and what you need to know. And I had already covered some of these content in my Tuesday's webinar. You will see that YouTube videos related to share sale. It's kind of in there already. So I just want to briefly mention to you that when you sell the shares, you know, you sell, let's say you sell all your shares in the company, you know, you actually giving away your EIN number, right? So I want you to realize that's what you're doing. You actually give away your EIN number. So anything attached to the EIN number, it will go with the new buyer. For example, your loan, your debt, your uncanceled debt, and your EIN number, your receivable, your payable, and your existing contract. Maybe you buy the government contract is to that EIN number. So you are really buying the totality of the company. So that's what we call share sale. But of course, you don't have to do 100%. Then, of course, it will be by proportion. You would still be in the business. But if you sold it in total, you don't have controls anymore. You are irrelevant to the business. Business goes on just as normal. And you are not going to be interfering with the new buyer because they're literally the boss now, right? So you are selling shares equals to your giveaway, well, not giveaway because you do get money, and you sell the whole business. So for that reason, if you are LLC or if you are a S Corp, but you elected from the LLC, or if you're individual, that doesn't happen, right? You can't sell shares when you are not a corporation. You at least need to be a S Corp, but not the kind elected from LLC to S Corp. And you need to be a C Corp elected to be S Corp. Makes sense, right? And the share sell from buyer's perspective, and then they are buying everything. So they cannot really, they cannot really get away from the company's reputation. And if the company owes other people money, and 2 years later, after you bought the company, some vendors come around and goes, you owe me $1 million. And if you bought it, you bought in totality. So that is all yours, right? And all the contract related to the business, it is all yours too. Then your employee is all yours too. You may not like some of them, but you bought the company, so you have it all, right? But for the seller, when they sell that to you, and some of the seller can qualify for Section 1202, and to make it really straightforward and simple, what is that? That means their capital gain on selling their shares is tax-free. So don't ever forget that's a possibility. I know you're going to ask me, okay, am I qualifying for Section 1202? It is worth of an investment from you to pay for the attorney and the CPA firm to qualify you to be the candidate for Section 1202. Maybe you need to plan that to happen, because not everybody qualifies for 1202. So I want you to say that these are the, these are the right here. These are the ones that not qualified for 1202. So there are a bunch of them. And but here it says that if your asset is greater than 50 million, you also don't qualify. So it needs to be less than 50 million, and you need to be a shareholder, basically. That's the qualification. So you need to hold your stock for more than 5 years. Then you need to have your $50 million asset or less. And then you need to be in the trade or business that is allowed to take advantage of the Section 1202. Then you can walk away with $10 million capital gain without paying taxes. All right. So this is where I want folks to understand, as a seller, you have the option. You can sell shares. You possibly has an exemption, but you don't have to sell shares. You can sell asset. And then what do you have? We will talk about that. So the taxes on sell shares we just covered, right? You could be with exemption. Even if you don't have exemption, your share sale is a capital gain. Long-term capital gain is taxed at what rate? 20%. So what is our regular income tax rate? 37%. Isn't that cool? So you do have a lower rate possibility. But if you are a C Corp and you do the share sale, and it's actually will be double taxed, right? You will go to pay the corporation tax first, then you'll pay the income tax after the distribution. Let's look at the asset sale. So there's two ways of selling: the share sale and asset sale. An asset sale occurs when a company sells some or all of its actual asset, either tangible or intangible. This asset sale is available to any business, including your sole proprietorship, your LLC that elected to be S Corp, your S Corp and C Corp. So it is a general selling, and most of the selling agreement you see on the market for small businesses are asset sale. So if your attorney didn't tell you what they're doing, they're probably doing an asset sale for you. Okay, so that in the asset sale, the seller retains the legal ownership of the company, but has no further resource to sell the asset. So what that means is, let's say if I own a manufacturer and I sold all my equipment, I sold all my business, I sold my equipment, I sold my client list. So I have no more business, right? But the legal name and the EIN number of that manufacturer is still mine, because I didn't sell the shares, I didn't sell the company, I just sold the asset. And if I owe any money in that business, it's still mine, because I did not sell my liability. Make sense? So when you sell asset, it is only the asset gets sold. The buyer assumes no liability in asset sale. So from buyer standpoint, just keep in mind, from the buyer standpoint, it is more advantage to buy the business through asset sale. It is not good for seller to sell that in asset sale. So, this is where that when you go into selling, you want to be cautious of what you're doing. Are you doing asset sale or you're doing share sale? Are you a buyer or you're a seller? Because that can give you different choices, right? The buyer standpoint of view, why am I saying it is better for the buyer? Because if I sold my machine to you and I sell you for $1 million, and you allocate the $1 million into the machine is depreciated 3 to 7 years. You literally could write off your $1 million in 1 year. So you have a step up value for the machine. They're worth $1 million. Then you write it off. So you actually have a deduction immediately. Am I right? So this is where I'm talking about when you buy an asset, the asset coming in with a new value. And even if you buy a client list, that like a goodwill, it is still 15 years life, right? You can deduct it 15 years. So unlike share sale, because when the buyer buy your shares, they use personal money to be a shareholder. That is totally not tax deductible. It's like you buy Amazon shares online, you didn't sell it. Are you going to have any deduction? The answer is no. Right? You're only going to lose or gain when you sell it. Then you will realize capital gain and loss. So from buyer standpoint, to buy it on asset sale is an advantage, especially if it is asset heavy kind of sale, right? Then of course, for the seller, from the seller standpoint, when you do asset sale, normally is generating more tax for you because you paid $1 million to buy this business, but you just bought shares. And so that goes on to your Schedule D, right? Because you bought it with your personal money. You just bought shares. You own the company, fine. And you can't deduct anything until you sell that share. Maybe you can sell that share to other people. So you have a gain or loss, you can treat it. But again, it is really a investment. So it is not going to trigger tax deduction immediately. So with that said, I want you to kind of follow me on this general thought today. We talked about buy and sell for small business. And we talked about there's two major ways of selling. One is sell the share, one is sell the asset. Let's pretend we sell 100% share or we sell 100% asset. As a seller, which one is more advantage? Of course, if you have a corporation, I would go for share sale just because you might be qualifying for exemption. But if you're not a corporation and you don't have a share to sell, and then you want to sell by asset, then you know that the sale of asset is advantage to the buyer. They love it. And for you, and you have a book value of an asset, and you can treat that as a capital gain. But you know what difference is when you take the book value of the asset against the $1 million you sold, part of that money is a recapture of depreciation, and that would be a normal income tax rate, right? So your tax rate is higher than 20%. So for seller, it's more disadvantage than advantage from the share sale. But you may not qualify for a share sale because you have a sole proprietorship, or you are a LLC and you just elected to be S Corp. You didn't bother to set up a new S Corp for yourself, so you don't have the shares. With that, so that kind of give you some thought, right? If you really are thinking of selling, it is so important to start planning. And you want to plan in the way that you can sell when you are ready to sell, your sale can save a lot of taxes and it can make you think that this is doable. Otherwise, you sell and you're not going to get your retirement money because you're going to be paying taxes. And, then what you've got is not going to be enough. So with that, I conclude today's webinar. I hope you did learn one or two things. And if you have any questions, and remember, you can always email us. And Catherine is my librarian, is my marketing manager, and she does everything in our firm. And I can't thank her enough that she is great. And her email is Catherine@communitycpa.com. And you can email her, tell her that you want this topic to be elaborated by Ying with Chinglish and our English, right? So that way, I really do have a way to disseminating the knowledge to very plain English level because I don't speak very sophisticated English, okay? And with that, and I hope you have a great weekend. We will see each other again on Tuesday. Bye-bye.